King Poyo's book. Move my tea. Candle. Okay. By King _ King Poyo. The _ King Poyo. So yeah, if you have any context or explanation, nothing about interpretation yet, that's my job as your reader, but if there's anything you want to say about this before I start, suppose that is something to do. I'm presuming that these are like the person speaking. That seems reasonable. Yeah. So you have these multiple people chanting. Okay. And they're the sins, or your interpretation of the sins, right? Because there's some different ones. Regret, right? And all of that. And they're summoning greed. Okay. Let us begin with some reading. I wonder if I can try to do voices. Oh, there's a lot, right? Summoning chant for greed. Group of 7, speaking in rhythmic, playful sync with a sinister tone. Michael, regret. By all the pain, the past we dread, we call you forth from gold and dead. Rose, gluttony. Hunger, Naz, it never ends. Greed, come join your dearest friends. Lucy, pride. Through me, the highest, take your throne, claim the crown, it's all your own. Berserk, wrath. Fury burns, it cracks the sky, greed, arise, make tyrants cry. Eli, envy. I want it all, what's yours is mine, greed, awaken, now's your time. Gaia, desire. We crave, we lust, we long for more, greed, come claim the planet's core. Altogether, more playful yet dark. Greed's the one we're summoning, or Oranapa's simmering. Join the sins, let's rule the land, take it all with greed's own hand. Michael hits the ground 3 times, and greed comes out of the rip in the ground. Cool. So, I'll read it again. I'm going to read it without the titles, so you all can see the characters, but I'm just going to read the text. By all the pain, the past we dread, we call you forth from gold and dead. Hunger gnaws, it never ends, greed, come join your dearest friends. Through me, the highest, take your throne, claim the crown, it's all your own. Fury burns, it cracks the sky, greed arise, make tyrants cry. I want it all, what's yours is mine, greed awaken, now is your time. We crave, we lust, we long for more, greed come claim the planet's core. Greed's the one we're summoning, Oranapa's simmering. Join the sins, let's rule the land, take it all with greed's own hand. Greed comes ripping out of the ground. The book is called Eagle, Trapped Between. It is the second in the series, okay. It's about a boy called Michael Stern. He was originally a god, someone who was told they're a god but isn't actually one. They're polytheistic. And gets the realization that he is really the sovereign of regret. All of them got reincarnated except greed. So then they are coming together to reincarnate greed. Okay. Cool. This is different. So, how it changes the original. It was originally false god. Interesting. So, let's see what I can do. This is really cool though. Let me just split this up with some cute colors. Michael being regret. I like the fact that they each take their own spin on, greed being risen or whatever, right? Lucy, pride, through me the highest. Rose, gluttony, hunger, gnaws. The past we dread, regret, right? I think that's all super cool. And in the final version, Michael cuts his hand and lets some blood drip onto the ground, where he hits, and he is the only one with actual demon blood. Okay, cool. So he's like a whole real demon, and these are like people who are sort of representations of reincarnated into people. Eli, envy. I like the names. Gaia, that's cool. Desire. And then everyone together. Right? So some nice little sections. It can be good to just organize what you're reading. Helpful to get your thoughts in order, right? So, like I said, I think it's very cool the way you do this. The past we dread, and then gluttony, the gnaw of hunger, Rose, Lucy, through me the highest, berserk, fury burns, Eli, I want it all, Gaia, we lust, right? And obviously that's super intentional, and it comes through, which is pretty awesome. I think it does a great job of sort of showing the inherent tensions between these characters and the way they relate to each other, because they are all doing this one action for different reasons, right? Maybe not different reasons, but different sort of underlying motivation. He is the original person of regret. The others are reincarnations, same soul, different body. And the relationships passed through generations, like Michael and Rose, are married, so they will be in love in the next life. Interesting, very cool. So, let's see. Sort of underline a few things. We mentioned by name greed, mentioned by name greed, right? And this is interesting because it's mentioned in like the second line in all of these, but notably not in like this one or this one. Just interesting. Just something I may be noticing. Michael may or may not be Greed's great grandson. Cool. So here's the thing. You were telling me so much information about these, and obviously this is something that is explained throughout the novel, right? However, it might be interesting to give more to this chant, if we're talking like literarily, to convey more information. Because, let's see, great grandson. How do I explain this? This seems like an extremely important culminating point of like your novel, probably. Summoning Greed, completing this set of 7, expand it. Might be an interesting thing to do. Obviously, it means more writing, and it's difficult, but I think, each of these characters probably has a deep historical relationship with greed, or the idea of greed, right? And I think you have a lot of really cool ideas happening. I want it all, what's yours is mine, is a completely different reason to or completely different outlook on greed being resurrected than something like, we crave, we desire, we long for more. Gaia wants another one. They want more, maybe power or more of their sinful presence in the world. I don't know the exact context, right? And so that is something I might suggest, is digging into their personal reasons. You said greed is Michael's, maybe, great-grandfather. And in that sense, you could mention here some amount of longing for that connection. And maybe there's some regret in the past relationship. But I say this mostly because, for example, Eli has this really, really strong, interesting line here. I want it all, what's yours is mine. Which is envy, also greed. And Gaia, we crave, we lust, we long for more. But then Berserks is just sort of like fury burns, it cracks the sky. It's more generic, and it's not bad, it's beautiful, right? But what is Berserk's idea of what will happen when greed returns? Similarly to Rose, right? And joining your dearest friends, while it is like a reasonable line, doesn't necessarily speak to the idea of gluttony as much as other things, like, for example, greed, come feast with your old friends, right? Greed, come feast with your old friends. Now we are injecting more of Rose's gluttonous personality into this line, right? And I would say, considering this is a ritual, depends on your world building, but ritual is often strictly structured, especially if you have this idea of passing down generationally. There's probably a great amount of tradition, right? And that means, again, that structure, that ritual, that proper ways. So they have a sort of pattern, some of them. What I desire, and then talking about what greed is going to come and do. And I would say if you wanted it to really have that deep sense of rituality, I might suggest doing something like making a sort of template where it starts with, my motive, if I am the sin, my motive for bringing you back, how greed relates to variable sin, not sign. For example, claim the crown, it's all your own, is sort of this intersection of the greed of taking the throne, ruling, but also the pride of being a ruler, right? Similarly, I think that's the best example, showing the idea of how greed and pride intersect in there. And that could be, each of these could be 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. It's not important. It's up to the amount you want to write and how much this actually takes place in your story, right? Trying to get this to focus. Okay. And to me, it feels like, from my limited perspective, this is an important part of the story, and you should give it a lot of screen time, right? Something you could also do, which might be cool, maybe, if you really, I feel like the summoning of greed could be an entire chapter, and it probably is. You probably give context before and after, and then he comes back and they talk and whatever. But if you wanted more weight to this, you could have a verse in italics and then go into, a paragraph of the other's thoughts on the ways in which they're being summoned. And I say that because they have, it seems, in some cases, their own motives, right? Their sins. They're probably not that great of people, and they probably don't agree with each other always. And that tension and that energy is probably also part of what is fueling this power, this ritual, maybe, right? And that could be cool. Also, if we're talking specific word choice and you really want to tie things in, fire burns, it cracks the sky. Why not cracks the ground? I mean, you literally say rips out of the ground. Let's see. Fury burns, it cracks the ground. Greed arise, make tyrants bow, or shout, or, lay tyrants down, let's say, right? Those are all cool ways that you could keep that connection going through. And even in that case, that's sort of in relation to the actual ritual. So maybe you have all of them include an idea about the action of the ritual, right? And then they could include what greed will do upon returning, right? Greed's action. And that's that doubles the length of your thing. I just feel like the reason I'm saying this is really good. You have a lot going on with all these different connecting pieces, these 6 people and 7 with greed, that maybe you ought to give it more time. And then why not, when you get to the end, and greed comes ripping out of the ground, you have greed give the last verse of the ritual, right? That makes sense. They're all part of it. That could be cool, like a cool narrative thing. Greed comes out, the first thing they say is, greed has returned, your prayers are heard, I join your ranks, to something, whatever, let's go rule the world and stuff, right? Because it seems like that is the goal. That could be a cool narrative thing. I don't know if you have thoughts on that, Poyo. If any of that sounds valuable to me, or if there's any more you want me to dig into in relation to this. I will say, also formatting, right? In a novel, I don't know if that's the final formatting, to say like Michael : I presume that's more for me, right? But there's probably a good way to convey who is speaking in each moment, and that might be by doing something like having one little verse in your page, right? And then having some context, some paragraph, whatever, and then having another verse, and that way then they can say, and next is Rose, right? And then some stuff, and then that can take up a whole chapter, Satana, Wrath's origin, and Richard, Greed's origin, are friendly in house, so Wrath is more looking to see his friend. Yeah, absolutely. And if Wrath is looking to see his friend, then mention that in the same way that Michael is probably looking to see his grandfather, and Rose is looking to see whatever their relation is, right? How greed relates to them in a metaphorical sense, how greed relates to them in a literal familial sense, because my guess is the 7 sins are a whole obnoxious, annoying, giant, messy, familial dynamic. That's how I would write it. And, maybe greed is like the brother who envies, right? But this like sibling rivalry, or, a relation to desire, or whatever, right? Even if they're cousins or distantly related in a way, right? So that seems like things you could play with, the formatting. But I think it's like a really good way that you're definitely having them express themselves through their words. Fury burns cracks the sky, want it all, we lost, right? That's what we said at the start. That much is super obvious. But why not have this be a moment to show even more about the characters and their dynamics and the ways they relate to each other? Because, right, of course, in our story we always want to be showing more about our characters, and this feels like a book that is extraordinarily character driven, right? And we're also introducing a new one who has great impact on our world and our main crew. So I think that's super cool. Also, maybe at some point they should mention, if greed already has a sort of colloquial, in this sense, name, right? Then they can say, call them by that name. Maybe they don't have one yet because they're being put into a new body. But that's cool, right? I don't know what Oranopa is, but maybe your world or something. But cool word. I think this is a great little word, great little name. Join the sins, let's rule the land, take it all with greed's own hand. Right? And perhaps we do have this sort of ritualistic action, hitting the ground 3 times. Why not tie ritualistic action into each thing? You know? First, Michael, during his part, hits the ground. Oh my gosh! Unknown Soul, raid! Welcome! I'm currently analyzing an excerpt from the King Poyo's book. That's one of my viewers. This is a summoning chant for the sin of greed, which is super cool. And we do this a lot on stream. If someone wants to drop the submit command in chat, I have a Google form where any of my viewers, new or old, can submit writing for me to look at and review and all of that. Out of this world raid, walking into those notes. Lamau. Yeah. So I'll read this all for you. Since this is what we're working on. This is the summoning chant for greed. And I'm going to take out some of the labels. You all can read those yourself. A group of 7 speaking in rhythmic, playful sync with a sinister tone. By all of the pain, the past we dread, we call you forth from gold and dead. Hunger gnaws, it never ends. Greed, come join your dearest friends. Through me, the highest, take your throne. Claim the crown, it's all your own. Fury burns, it cracks the sky. Greed arise, make tyrants cry. I want it all. What's yours is mine. Greed awaken, now's your time. We crave, we lust, we long for more. Greed, come claim the planet's core. Greed's the one we're summoning, or on a pause, simmering. Join the sins, let's rule the land, take it all with greed's own hand. Greed comes crashing out of the ground, risen, something. Lots of great writing. So that's what we're analyzing, and we're just talking about how we maybe could flesh this out, giving lots of feedback. I'm having fun doing voices for all of them, you know. And thank you for the follow, whoever that was. I appreciate that dearly. And so yeah, I suppose, and if anyone else in chat ever has comments, things they like, things they would suggest, that is always encouraged, right? We're very participatory here. Your opinions are as valid as mine, even though I'm the one, like, in charge, which is scary. So yeah, but I guess Poyo, you already said that what advice I've given you is great, but do you have any other specific things that you feel you might want to improve about this chant, this part of your book, or any questions, things that I can look at, things you want me to dig more into? Because in this case, I haven't given you too much time so far, because it's short, and normally it's poetry, and I get to go through all the different metaphors, right? So I want to give you as much time as I would give anyone else, right? And this is sort of a poem, right? It's a chant, it's a ritual, but I just want to make sure that before I call it good, that this is what you were looking for in sharing, and if there's anything else you want me to look at, if you want me to, I don't know what else, right? And I think this last sort of verse of the ritual, it's okay. You analyze it perfectly well. Okay. I think this last one, obviously it's all of them together, so it has to in some sense be generic and apply to them all. But I think you could definitely just add. I think I really like it, right? So add more, unless it doesn't work narratively, right? You only have so many words, so many pages for your book, especially if you're trying to get it published, which I have no experience with, right? And I personally have very little to no experience with publishing, right? And prose, so this is sort of foreign. Oranopa simmering. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, but I think it's super cool. And I guess, do you want this VOD up on YouTube I don't know if I would post it in the Poets of Twitch, right, which is the playlist for the poetry, but maybe I would make another playlist that was like for other writings, because it just doesn't quite feel exactly the same unless you want it with the poetry. But sure, okay. And do you want it unlisted like Nico did, or would you be fine with it public and in a playlist on my channel? And I don't think I put the submit command for anyone who's new. So that just pulls up the Google form. We also have a Discord. What a cool name, right, Unknown Soul? I think it's great. And air with it published? Okay, alright with it published. Yeah, that is perfect. I can super do that for you. And so again, I'll read it one more time, since now I know how to pronounce Oranopa, and then that'll be enough for the summoning chant of greed. Welcome in, Raiders, by the way, like you said. Thanks, Poyo, for being welcoming. I appreciate that. I like you all, my chatters. My good girls, good boys, good theys, and good fae. Good entities. Good, I don't know what else I got. Y'all can come up with more for me. Oh my gosh. Wow. Free viewers. No, cheap viewers. I'm just gonna buy those up. /ban tele. Oh, bot viewers are free, right? I know. Telescopic reverse. Bye-bye. Yeah, I have the best free viewers here. Y'all are amazing. I wouldn't buy anyone to you are free. Yeah. Okay, that being said. Summoning chant for greed. Also, I'm having so much fun with the voices. I hope it's sort of accurate to what you imagine. By all the pain, the past we dread, we call you forth from gold and dead. Hunger gnaws, it never ends. Greed, come join your dearest friends. Through me, the highest, take your throne. Claim the crown. It's all your own. Fury burns, it cracks the sky. Greed, arise, make tyrants cry. I want it all. What's yours is mine. Greed, awaken. Now's your time. We crave. We lust, we long for more. Greed, come claim the planet's core. Greed's the one we're summoning, or Anopa's simmering. Join the sins, let's rule the land. Take it all with greed's own hand. I like it a lot. I think it's very cool. I think hopefully the ideas have helped you. If you put that in a book, I think it'd be cool. I also think there's ways to make it even better, as there always is. So glad I'm not the only one with crazy looking notes. Yeah, also hi Ryder Lee. Oh my gosh, glad to have you here. So many people. I don't have notes. Is that weird? No. Yeah, we do. So whenever I analyze people's things on stream or just give feedback, let me call this greed. This was from yesterday. I have a really bad drawing of a mind flare. We have graphs. There's a lot, right? Mathematical notation. This one wasn't nearly as much. Longing, we had a lot of things. Sometimes I'll draw. We have some pictures. And under the apple tree, we have a whole little scene drawn out. So we have fun here. Hey there, sorry. You've been lurking once I got home. Now a chance to sit down and say hi. No worries. Lurking is great. We love our lurkers and we love our chatters all the same. And if you're lurking and relaxing and hanging out, just make sure to eat some of the lotus flowers so you stay forever. Never leave. Lurking means the introverted streamers don't have to talk as much. Trust me, I'm not an introverted streamer, but it's great. Also, if you want to join the island of the Lotus Eaters, that's my Discord. We're slowly growing, and super psyched about having that. But yeah, so I guess notes for editing look like this. Like, this sentence sucks, change it. Nope, rewrite this whole thing. Yeah, the funny thing is, I don't, edit my stuff. I'll write a poem. I wrote a poem this morning, mosquito poem, also known as Drink of Me. These are comments from my friend. You're so savage to yourself. Yeah, be nicer. Although you don't have to. But I finished this. I'm like, it's done. I already posted the recording on, Instagram and TikTok. So I'm like, okay, we're done. We don't edit here. But I know writing prose is a completely different process, and I think that's what most of you all other writing streamers do. Also, for anyone who doesn't know, Unknown Soul and Ryder Lee are both writing streamers, and they're super cool and have awesome streams. So go look at their channel and do that. I guess Mama Rednax probably is as well. I don't think I've been in your stream. But yeah, they're all cool. Big fan of them in general. But anyway, the King Pollo, thank you so much for sending your work. The whole analysis comment stuff never could happen without people sending things in, and doesn't matter who it is, send your stuff, try to get to it, right?